Hello students, welcome to the mobile computing class. Today, lecture 5, we are entered into the week number 2. Before going to start this session, I would like to share a few words to you. That is, in the last week, we completed 4 lectures belongs to the unit number 1. Now, we are entered to the week number 2. I hope you guys all are celebrated Vinayak Chauthi well by followed COVID rules. And now I would like to discuss a small thing with you. You guys all are listened the past 4 classes and completed the assessment test. But some of you guys are facing one problem. That is, someone says, "Sir, we are writing the exam, sir, but we didn't get attendance." So the actual problem is, one second. So this is your Google Classroom. So created for the fourth year CSC A and B sections. So we have to attend the class by using Google Classroom only. So you have to click on this, then only, then you got some classroom links, class links, and as well as assessment links. So you have to click on that class links and assessment links. Then only you got attendance and as well as marks. For example, some of you guys are click on the video and watching how many number of people are viewed the video and watched the video that we identified by using this number count. Okay, you can observe this. Okay, there is a possibility for us to know how many member of people are attending the sessions, how many member of people are watching the videos, and how many number of people are completing the assessment tests. But here the problem for you guys is some of the people are sharing the links by using that link. Some of the students are filling the assessment forms. So if you have to be filling, if you have to fill the assessment form in that way, you didn't get attendance and your score is not valid. That is not entered into the fourth CSC Google Classroom. So that is the problem. So if you have to enter to the Google Classroom, then only you have to watch the classes and you have to fill the assessment forms. Then you got attendance and as well as the assessment forms, assessment marks. Otherwise, there is no use of sharing the links. So what we observed in the last week is some of the people are sharing the links to their friends. They are filling the assessment forms, but they didn't get attendance and their marks is not valid. So I hope you guys are followed this instruction from this week onwards and from this class onwards. So we have to enter by using a Google Classroom only. So now today lecture number 5 is the week number 2. In the week number 1, mobile computing, we have 4 classes. In that 4 lectures, in the lecture 1, we completed the basic introduction about mobile communications and mobile computing architecture, and as well as what are the limitations, drawbacks of mobile computing, and what are the different applications of mobile computing, that what we discussed in the first session, that is lecture 1. In the lecture number 2, we discussed the basic model and as well as some of the services of GSM. And in the lecture 3, we discussed about completely in the lecture 3, we discussed about GSM architecture. So what is GSM and what are the various subparts in the GSM? So how the mobile data transmission will be done, how the one MS is connecting to the another MS, that what we discussed in the lecture 3. So coming to the lecture 4, we discussed about mobile computing GSM protocols and as well as localization and calling. So how the call functions will done. So by using some of the steps, what are the steps there? So there are total number of 17 steps we have to follow to connect a call, localization and calling. So that we discussed it in the lecture 4. Now in the lecture 5, we have to discuss handover functions, security services by the GSM, and what are the data services by the GSM, and some basic introduction about the GPRS. So GPRS is also the one of the important concept here in the unit number 1. So we discuss these 4 concepts in the lecture 5. So what is meant by handover? So you have to observe this diagram once. So mobile, already we discussed these terminologies there in the lecture 3 in the GSM architecture. Mobile station, BTS, BSC, MSC. So mobile station to the base transceiver station to the base station switching circuit. So this is the local tower. So we already discussed it from BSC to MSC. Okay. Mobile switching center, mobile service switching center is the MSC, is the main tower. So how the signal will hand over from one mobile station to the another, or how the mobile station is moving. So how the signal is moving. For example, if you are traveling in a car, if you are traveling in a bus, or if you are traveling in a train, automatically when you passes from one tower range to the another tower, there is automatically if you are moving from one location to the another location. So if you are using mobile, automatically it connecting to the second tower. You are talking with some other by using mobile under one mobile tower range. If you are crossed that mobile tower range to another mobile tower range, automatically it is connecting to the some other tower. So how it will be happened, that what we discussed here in the handover functions. So in the cellular systems, it required handover procedures as signals. Cells do not cover the whole service area. However, a handover should not cause a cutoff, also called call drop. So if the another tower is not connecting to the our mobile system, automatically we faced a call drop. I think you guys all already have faced this issue, that is call drop or cutting a call cut. So how the call drop problem is arised. So the call drop problem is arised so by this handover management. So if the signal is not that signal is not properly hand over to the another tower, automatically the call drop problem is arised. So in this way it has to hand over the signal to the another tower. So how it will be happened, that what we have to be discussed here in the handover management. So the GSM aims to maximum handover duration of 60 microseconds. Just only 60 microseconds, automatically it connecting to the one tower to the another tower. So one range to the another range. So if you are traveling in a car, you are talking with some other in the mobile. So automatically you crossed one tower range. The signal is very much poor. But the another tower, you belongs to another tower. You already entered to the another tower range. So the signal is automatically connected by the some other tower. So the tower name is changed in your mobile device. Okay, the maximum handover duration for that signal connection to one tower to the another tower is just only 60 microseconds. So there are two basic reasons for the handover. The mobile stations moves out of the range of the BTS, decreasing the received signal level, increasing the error rate, thereby diminishing the quality of the radio link. So the handover may be due to the load balancing when an MSC VSC decides the traffic is too high in one cell. For example, there is a possibility of two towers connecting to your mobile device. So you are in the same range as well as tower 1 is also available, tower 2 is also available, but tower 1 has the so many connections, but the tower 2 has the less connections. Automatically your mobile device is connecting to the tower 2. That we have to discuss here. Handover may be due to the load balancing when an MSC or BSC decides the traffic is too high in one cell. So one radio cell has many traffic and another radio cell is very much free. Automatically your device is connected. Your device is far away for both two cells. So within the same range. So you have a possibility of connecting to radio cell 1. There is a possibility of area of radio cell 2. Both will be available to your device automatically. So load balancing will be done. So whichever the tower has the less number of connections, that tower will be connecting to your mobile device, and it shifts some MS to other cells with a lower load. So that's what we discussed here. Some and shifts some MS to other cells with a lower load. So this one is the diagram. Mobile station within under 1 BTS, and mobile station moves to another BTS, that means intra BTS, but inter BSC. So it belongs to same BSC, but moving from one BTS range to another BTS range. Within one BSC, it transmitted to it traveled from one BTS to another BTS range, but these both BTS are under the one BSC range. So that is first one. So first you have to observe this intra-cell handover, inter-cell, intra-BSC. That means the same BSC, but BTSs are different. Inter-BSC and intra-MSC. That means BSCs are different, but those two BSCs are under the category of same MSC, and inter-MSC handover. These four are the handover scenarios. So intra-cell handover, inter-cell, intra-BSC, inter-BSC, intra-MSC, inter-MSC handover, the first one. So intra-cell handover. So one BTS within itself, and second one BTS to another BTS, but both BTSs are under same BSC. And next one, third one is moving from one BSC to another BSC, moving from one BSC to another BSC, but those two BSCs are under same MSC. Those two BSCs are under same MSC. Okay, and the fourth one is it moves from one MSC location to the another MSC. That is the fourth one, inter MSC. So these four are the four possible handover scenarios of GSM. So that's shown in below figure. So first one is intra-cell handover. Second one is inter-cell but intra-BSC. That means from this cell to moving from another BTS, but these two BTS are under the range of same BSC. And next one is the inter-BSC. So the signal moving, the mobile station moving from the one BSC to another BSC, but these two BSCs are under same MSC. That is the third one. And coming the fourth one, the mobile station moving from one MSC range to the another MSC range. First one BTS range to another BTS range with under same BSC. one BSc range to another BSc range and same. So these two BSc are under same MSc. So one MSc to the another MSc, and the first one is itself intracell handover. So first one, intracell handover. So here in the intracell handover, within cell narrowed band interface could make transmission at a certain frequency impossible. So the BSc could then decide to change the carrier frequency scenario. So here in the intracell handover, so changing the signal itself within BSc, sorry, within BTS. Within cell, narrowband interface could make transmission at a certain frequency impossible. The BSc could then decided to change the carrier frequency scenario. And coming to the intercell and intra-BSc handover. So there is a possible, already we discussed that, there is a possibility of the mobile station moving from one BTS to another BTS, but these two BTSs are under the category of same BSc. So intracell, intercell, intra-BSc. So intercell, one cell to another cell, but intra-BSc, that means within the same BSc range. This is a typical handover scenario. The mobile station moves from one cell to another, but stay within the control of the same BSc. The BSc then performs a handover. So then the BSc then performs a handover. So within the range of same BSc, so the mobile station moving from one cell to the another cell, that is one BTS to the another BTS. Now third one, so inter BSc intra MSc handover. So it moves from one BSc range, one BSc range to another BSc range. So but those two BScs are under the category under one MSc. So the mobile station moving from this BSc to this BSc. So BSc to the BSc, but these two BScs are under one MSc. So BSc 1 to BSc 2, but under same MSc. That is third one. Inter BSc, intra MSc. So one BSc to another BSc, but in the same within the same MSc range. So as a BSc only controls a limited number of cells. GSM also has to perform handovers between cells controlled by different BScs. This handover then has to be controlled by the MSc. So the BSc has to control only limited number of cells. That's why the GSM also has to perform handovers between the cells that controlled by different BScs. These handovers then has to be controlled by the MSc. Okay, now final one, that is inter MSc, from one MSc to the another MSc. So a handover could be required between two cells belong to the different MScs. Now both MScs perform the handover together. So the handover could be required between two cells. So one cell belongs to, that means one BTS belongs to one MSc and another BTS belongs to another MSc. Then now the both MScs has hand over the signals together. That is the fourth one, inter MSc. So these are the four categories within the cell itself. That means within the BTS itself. And second one BTS to another BTS, that is one cell to another cell, but within the range of same BSc. That is the second one. Mobile station moves, that is handovers the signal. So handovers the signal to the one BTS to another BTS, but those two BTS are under one BSc, under same BSc. That is the second one. The third one is the signal is handover to the third one, another BTS. So but the BTS is connecting to another BSc. So intra BSc. So mobile station moving from one BSc to another BSc. Those BScs are under same MSc. So within the range of same MSc. So fourth one is so one BTS. So you have to observe this. So BTS 1, BTS 2, BTS 3, all are belongs to MSc 1. So BTS 1 and BTS 2 belongs to BSc 1, and BTS 2 and BTS 3 belongs to BSc 2. So MSc 1 consisting of BSc 1 and BSc 2, and like that MSc, another MSc consisting of so many BScs and so many BTSs. If mobile station wants to move from this BTS to BTS 2, so but these two BTS are under the range of this BSc. So mobile station hand over the signals from here to the this BTS, but this BTS connecting to the another BSC, that is BSC 2. So, but these two BSCs are under this MSc. Next, fourth category. Here in the category 4, so mobile station moves out of the range of this MSc. So it hand over the signal to the another cell, but the cell is connecting to the another MSc. That is the fourth one. In this way, the signal handovering is done there in the GSM architecture. Now, security. So GSM security services. So what are the GSM security services? So most probably it follow the radio interfaces by transmitting the data, whatever the data, either it is a voice data, textual data, whatever it may be, it has to be transmitting the data in the form of radio signals. So a security is also the very important criteria here for the GSM. Here the GSM offers several security services using confidential information stored in the authentication and in the individual SIM. The SIM stores personal secret data and is protected with a PIN against unauthorized use. So it has to provide a SIM, a security number to the SIM. So that particular security number provides security and this PIN against unauthorized use. So there are 3 algorithms have been specified to provide the security services in the GSM. So these are the 3 algorithms provide for the security to the GSM. So algorithm A3, algorithm A5 and algorithm A8. So here in the algorithm A3, it is used for authentication. So where you have to be provide security from user number 1 to user number 2, that is mobile station 1 to mobile station 2, whenever the data transmission is getting start, so it has to provide security. So in between there is a possibility of some of the hackers and some of the people, for example, person 1 typing a text message called hello. So it has to be moved, it has moved to the user 2 in same manner. If anyone hacked that message and typed some other any unwanted unnecessary data to that, there is a miscommunication between to the user 1 and user 2. So the service provider has to provide security to the data. Either the data may be voice data, either data may be textual data, either the data may be multimedia data, whatever it may be. So the service provider has to be provide security. So in GSM, the security services arranged by depending these 3 algorithms. Those are A3, algorithm A3. It is used for authentication. It is used for authentication. And algorithm A5, which is used for encryption. So algorithm A5 used for encryption, and algorithm A8, which is used for the generation of cipher key. I think if you guys are already watched the videos of cryptography and network security first part, you guys all know about these cipher keys. So cipher key means which is used to convert the plain text to the ciphertext. Okay, where it is added is, so there in the encryption. So an encryption means converted the plain text into the ciphertext. So the generation of cipher key is done by the algorithm A8. So algorithm A3 is used for the authentication and algorithm A5 is used for the encryption. So what is meant by encryption? Encryption is nothing but converting the plain text to the ciphertext. So for security purpose, we are adding some additional keys to the original data. Automatically, it reaches to the receiver. So again, it will be converted to decrypted. That means it will be again converted to the ciphertext to the plain text. So in the encryption, the plain text is converted to the ciphertext in the decryption manner. In the receiver end, again the ciphertext is converted into the form of plain text So to converting the plain text into the ciphertext, some of the additional keys we have to be adding to the plain text data, so that will be generated by A8. So these three are the algorithms which we are using for the security purpose in the GSM architecture. Algorithm A3 for authentication, algorithm A5 for encryption, algorithm A8 for the generation of cipher key. So these are the various security services offered by the GSM. So access control and authentication, confidentiality and anonymity. So these three are the security services offered by the GSM. So these three are the security algorithms used by the GSM. A3 for authentication, A5 for encryption, and A8 for generation of cipher key. And these three are the security services offered by the GSM: access control and authentication, confidentiality and anonymity. So first one, access control and authentication. So what is meant by access control and authentication? So an authentication is required for every communication. So the first step it includes the authentication of a valid user for the SIM. That's why authentication number is provided for you. So if I want to communicate with you, so the number I have to tell, for example, 9848, that is the number. So authorized. So authentication or authorized number is provided for us. The user needs a secret PIN to access the SIM. So the first step includes the authentication of a valid user for the SIM. The user needs a secret PIN to access the SIM. Okay. The next step is the subscriber authentication. This step is based on the challenge responsibilities schema shown in the below figure. So this is the figure. So the mobile network and the SIM. So there are the two possibilities of authentication. One is the first step includes the authentication for valid user for the SIM. The user needs a secret PIN here. The second one belongs to the subscriber identity. User needs an authentication, and subscriber also needs an authentication. So if you watch the diagram, so here we are using the algorithm A3. So algorithm A3 already we discussed. Algorithm A3 belongs to the authentication, SIM, mobile network. So mobile SIM required an authentication, and mobile network also required an authentication. So authentication, MSC. So signed response, SRES is the signed response, and individual subscriber authentication key we are given K1. K1 is the, so we already discussed here. The user needs a secret PIN, that is key. So K1 or KI. So is the secret key here. So SRES is the signed response. For either authentication purpose, we are using algorithm A3 at the SIM level, algorithm A3 at a mobile network level. Okay, it is connecting to MSC. Now, second one, confidentiality. So it is very most important. So what we are sharing, either the audio or text or multimedia, whatever the data we are sharing to the another user, or transmitting data from one mobile device to another mobile device, it's required so much confidentiality. All users related data is encrypted. That's why here the encryption is done for the data. Encryption is done for the data. So the plain text is converting to the ciphertext by giving some of the keys, and again after reaching to the user to receive, after reaching to the receiver, again the ciphertext is converting to the plain text. How the security is providing, what are the security algorithms they are using, that you studied there in the cryptography and network security. Here all user related data is encrypted in the confidentiality. After authentication, the BTS and MS apply encryption to voice, data and signaling as shown in the below figure. If you observe the figure, mobile network, MS with SIM. So here using two algorithms, A5 and A8. A5 for the encryption and A8 for the cipher key. We discussed it here. A5 for the encryption and A8 for the generation of cipher key. So A3 for authentication. So here in the access control authentication, we are using A3 for key generation. Here in the confidentiality, we are using A8, that is cipher key, and A5 for encryption. So MS with SIM. We are adding keys to the text and then it is encrypted. So BTS, authentication, SIM and MS. So after the key generation, it reaches to the BTS. From BTS to the after reaching to the BTS, it is encrypted and then it reaches to MS. So anonymity is the third one. To provide user anonymity, all data is encrypted before transmission. So data is encrypted before transmission and user identifiers are not used over the air instead. So the GSM transmits a temporary identifier TMSI which is newly assigned by the VLR after each location updated. The user wants to moving from one location to the another location. His personal, already we discussed it in the GSM architecture. So every MSC connecting to the one VLR and one HLR, home location register and visitor location register. If you are under the same tower range, you belongs to the same tower range. So your data is there in the HLR, home location register. If you are moving, you are connecting to the another tower. So your data is there to the VLR. There a temporary identifier number is allocated to you. So if you finished work there and you crossed from that tower to the another tower, automatically these temporary number is allocated to the some other user who entered to the that tower range. So you belongs to, for example, you belongs to tower 1. You are moving, so your data is there in the HLR in the tower 1, that is MSC 1. You are moving to the range of another MSC, so there your data, you are the visitor for that tower. So your data is stored in the VLR of MSC 2. Your data is there stored in the VLR of MSC 2. So you finish your work there and you will be back. So whenever you are there in the range of second MSC, so you have to be allocated a temporary number. So after you vacate that tower, that number is allocated to the some other new user who entered to that second MSC range. So that is so the data of these visitors stored there in the VLR. So that is anonymity. To provide user anonymity, all data is encrypted before transmission and user identifiers are not used over the air instead. So the GSM transmits only temporary identifier. So these are the security, how the security is providing to the GSM. They are using 3 algorithms and 3 security services: access control authentication, confidentiality and anonymity. In access control, we are using access key. We are generating an access key. So authentication key at the authentication level, both in the network range as well as SIM range. And in the confidentiality, here we are using both A8 and A5 algorithms, that is cipher key generation and encryption is done. And anonymity before transmission. So we are providing encryption and next. So we are creating a temporary ID for the VLR. And next, new data services. To enhance the data transmission capabilities of GSM, 2 basic approaches are possible. At the basic, GSM is based on connection-oriented traffic channel. We already discussed that's only 9.6 kbps per second. Each several channels could be combined to increase bandwidth. So to transmit the data in the quicker manner, in the shorter time, so we have to combine multiple channels to increase the bandwidth. So this system is called HSCSD, high speed circuit switch data. So what we done here in the HSCSD, we combined multiple channels to increase the bandwidth. Automatically, if the bandwidth is increased, so the traffic, data has to be transmitted in the quicker manner. So the traffic channel, GSM is based on the connection oriented traffic channel. So the traffic is removed. So if the bandwidth is high, so data transmission is done in the faster manner. So HSCSD, high speed circuit switch data. a more progressive step in the introduction of a packet-oriented transmission in the GSM, shifting the paradigm of connections, telephone, thinking the packets, internet thinking. So in another way, we are using GPRS for that packet transmission. So general packet radio service. So new data services, HSCSD, we call it as HSCD, and GPRS. GPRS is also the another packet transmission. Okay. So we discussed about these data services and GPRS introduction in the coming lecture. So what we discussed here in the lecture 5 is, so handover management. So how the handover is done. So how the signal handovering happened from one mobile station to another mobile station. So how signal is handovered, how MS is moving. So from within the cell itself, are moving from one cell to the another cell, but those two cells belongs to one BSC, and moving from one BSC to another BSC. Those two BSCs are under one MSC, and moving from one cell to another cell. This is cell under the another MSC, moving from one MSC to the another MSC. And what are the different security services provided by the GSM? Okay, what are the algorithms we use it for the to provide security services? What are the various security services offered by the GSM? And a small introduction about the some of the data services. So we discussed about the data services and complete overview about the GPRS in the coming lecture. Thank you.